Hi everyone, my name is Marlene Moore and I'm the creator of the Back to Basics piano method. I just thought I'd take a few minutes today to show you some of what the books are all about. You can also see them at the publisher, J.W. Pepper, but I just thought maybe we'd go through some of book 2 here to show you the illustrations and the methodology. Back to Basics is an audiation type of method. It took me 25 years to write 10 books, and then another 10 years to write 12 more books, and here they are. This is book 2. The rote piece formula and the sight reading formula is written on the To the Teacher page, which is right at the beginning. Then we have a table of contents, all of the names of the pieces in book 2. In book 1 we had Peanut Butter as one of the songs, and that continues here too, except in a little more advanced form. And notice you've got Mr. Smiley Face down at the bottom. He's throughout a lot of the books. And there is a keyboard here too. That's what I like about books 1, 2, and 3. You find the keyboards in relation to where the pieces are and the notes. Notice we've got C above middle C. It's not the boring C to G middle C. That's kind of outdated, where your thumbs have to fight over the middle C. This is starting in a more convenient place, more natural place too, because your hands are not restricted. They're able to play more easily. The same here. It's starting at the C below middle C. Notice how large the notes are and how nice and plain everything is, all rolled out for you. This is book 2, so they've already learned these notes in book 1, and it's an audiation method even for the sight reading, so the notes are found first on the keys. We teach the keys first and the sounds, and then go forward with the actual placing of where the notes are on the staff and on the keyboard. Okay, so that's the first sight piece in book 2. Then it goes on to Butterfly, same idea. These larger pieces are all rote pieces, taught one step at a time, and a step is usually one line. Actually, a step is only as big as the student can handle. And then it's the left hand, the rote piece for this part here. Same idea. They had a much easier version of Butterfly in book 1. And this is where they're at for book 2 sight reading. They have not yet learned that this gets 4 counts and all of that. We don't introduce that until book 3, because it's more important right now for the note recognition, where the note lives, what the note sounds like. Okay, and hopping is also a more advanced piece than the hopping in book 1. Here we've got kangaroos going shopping. Everything in Back to Basics starts off with staccato. So we've got always the staccato up and down movement of the hand before we get to legato, because it's easier for age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, anybody really to do staccato before they learn legato. And then hopping left hand, starting on the C below middle C. Kangaroos are showing you how to hop. And then the introduction of the note names, the letters, instead of just the sound. They're beginning to learn the names now. That's for the left hand. And on to jump, jump, sit. And the beginnings of learning how to count. And the left hand part of that right here too. think that's just one. Yes. And sight reading again. You notice they are behind in the sight reading compared to what level they're at in the rote teaching. But that's okay. It all catches up by the end of book 3. It all kind of goes together. This is the sight reading, which is still taught in an auditory way. This is the rote learning. So it doesn't matter if they know all of these notes or know the rhythms. The teacher teaches this to them in a rote fashion, because music is a listening thing. And the same thing with the left hand here. This is sight piece 5. All hot notes. They're not called staccato for the little kids. We just call them hot notes. And here's the first legato piece in book 2, where the turtle is walking slowly and doing it in a forward roll fashion each time they're playing. And then the turtle for left hand. Children love this book. They love these pieces too. And most of them really take very well to the concept of identification through sound, which is what this is all about. Little bird. This would be their first actual lyrical piece, because the other ones, we don't tell them they're just finger exercises, but that's what they are. Little Bird is actually the first lyrical piece, and that's also a rote piece. Down below, they have notes that they count now. They're learning how to count. Okay? This sight exercise has the jumps in it. And that brings us up to page 25, which is Beethoven's song, you know. Da, 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 da. I don't sing, but they're learning the rhythm. Beethoven wrote this music in his 9th symphony. They're learning it in an auditory way, in a rhythmic way that makes sense to them without them having to memorize how many counts every note gets. But they're gradually learning that theoretical part of it too. So there's good old Beethoven. And next, the children are following along here, following the dots. Color all the hot notes black, then label them on the piano. Label them meaning point to them. And this is the children's first song. It says make a little song here. In the Back to Basics method, there's a huge way that we try to get them very much so to improvise. Well, there's a big push on improvisation. In fact, there is one book that's called Making Melodies that is to do only with improvisation. We want children to enjoy music, to learn how to make music, and not just learn how to read notes from a page. Back to Basics children learn how to memorize right off the bat from the very first lesson. They're memorizing everything. It's no problem to teach this by rote. It is instantly memorized. The sight reading is not memorized. It's a separate function of the brain. The rote teaching, the rote pieces are memorized. If you want to learn more about the Back to Basics program, join our teacher training group. It's called, on Facebook, it's called Back to Basics Piano Teachers. That's Back to Basics Piano Teachers. Be sure to fill out the questionnaire or you won't get admitted to the group. To get into the group, Back to Basics Piano Teachers, you need to be over 18. You need to be an advanced pianist, or you need to be a piano teacher either a beginner piano teacher or you have had a lot of experience, so you could also be an experienced piano teacher. It is not a group for piano students. These are people who are learning how to teach the Back to Basics piano method. So you're very welcome to join if you have those qualifications. Here we have Sight Piece 9, which is page 26, left hand. And it doesn't matter to them whether the notes are black or white. They are just learning where these notes live and what they sound like, identifying them on the keyboard. Teeter-Totter Surprise is kind of fun because they get to meet Billy B here, and it happens to land on the B every time. They like that. This is just left hand. At the bottom of the page, it shows you which complementary books go with book 1 and book 2. So for book 1, a lot of teachers use the book called Music Maps and another one called Playwright. And those are also, they're not necessary, but they're very good for children who need a little extra help with note reading. And it works. It really works. Some children don't need them. They go ahead very quickly in this book, but some children do need them too. Book 2, the complementary or companion books that go with those is Music Maps Book 2 and Super Kid Book 1. Super Kid is a cartoon fellow who helps us to remember when to practice. There's so much to talk about this. This is why we have the teacher training program. This is different because they're learning where to see these notes, where to find them, what they sound like, what they feel like, can sing them. And now we have more teeter-totter surprises for the rote piece and a little homework from Mr. Smiley Face. And that takes us to, pardon me, I'm doing this in my kitchen. I think we missed a page. Yes, we did. Here it is. There is another format of finding all the F's and what they sound like. And this piece, for some reason or other, usually hits around Valentine's Day. So we had another piece that was called I Love You, where the children made Valentines, and now this one is called You Love Me. You Love Me is starting on the B. Every day I brush my teeth. Every day I wash my hands. Every day I play my piano. Every day I eat my dinner. Every day I learn new things. And this is a picture of me. As you know, children are very me-oriented, and they love to draw a picture of themselves. Now we're getting into a little more advanced notes. Do you like the great big notes? The children certainly can get more help by having these large notes like this. Now this one's called I Love You, You Love Me, the children dancing, and again on CEG and BDG, as we know, and teaching it is another thing. You learn that too in our group. And find all the A's. Merrily we roll along. And this is the beginning of what I call sequential learning. Do you see the little red dots? Well, this is where we have what is called a stop, think, go. We teach this part, da 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 da. Stop, think, go before you do step 2. That gives students kind of a placement or a identification of where they're at. And of course the stop signs stop once the piece is secure. it's called sequential learning because that's how we memorize pieces sequentially, one after another, one phrase after another. Right hand alone, left hand alone. Okie doke. That takes us to this great big sight exercise. And what I like to do is have the children draw to, this would be middle C, okay? So draw the line to where that note lives. They met up with Little Bird in book 1. And here he is singing away. And they're very happy now to be doing hands together. It's the same in both hands, but that's how they learn best. Now, this is their song. They're going to make up this song. We start them off and they finish it up. And they can all do this. They can all do this very, very easily. Probably easier than the teachers. Why? Because when we learned how to play the piano, it was just, well, what's this note? How many counts does it get? Well, let's count 1, 2, 3. There were so many things to remember. And now music flows in this method. The music just flows, and they are able to write their pieces. They see this as a sight reading piece that they just finish. And their favorite of all, this is a real favorite recital piece called Now I'm Finished My Book Too. And now I'm finished my book too. I'm away from the piano, so you have to put up with my singing. And this is the first time they've met up with having the melody in the right hand, and the left hand is different. So they have the melody and the harmony. It's also the first time that they've met up with having treble in both hands, so that the left hand is on C and the right hand is on the G above the other C. So that's kind of fun. They have a good time with that. And the very best of all, the certificate at the end. Yes, they have to have that. That's very, very important. I know one mother that framed every certificate for books 1 to 10. And the children love that. I remember my mother, when I went to the Royal Conservatory of Music of Toronto, my mother framed every certificate. There was a whole wall of my achievements. I think that children need that, don't you? So that is book 2, Back to Basics Piano Method, book 2. I hope you've enjoyed this. My camera work has not been that great because I'm just holding this,